All right, Kyle, we got to talk about the Latvian legend himself, Teddy Blueger. Is he the right man for the third line center job? Will he even be the third line center next season? We're going to talk about that next. It's Beggsy and it's Bhawan, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and part-time credentialed media member for Daily High Vancouver. And before we dive into today's show, Kyle and I want to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day. Make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, on today's show, we got to talk about that Latvian legend himself, Teddy Blueger. That's Mr. Stanley Cup champion, Teddy Blueger, Mr. Healthy Scratch, Teddy Blueger, the guy that's supposed to be the third line center for the Vancouver Canucks. We're going to talk about his ceiling and if he'll even be the third line center next season. But first and foremost, I want to introduce someone who I saw in the flesh over the weekend, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Good times. I seen Trevor do some miraculous things for real. He was playing a beer drinking game with his child in his hand. It was unreal. Unreal and way too much. You got to relax. Slow your roll, okay? You mother father. Anyways, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. We'll get to a comment at the end of the show. Man, oh man, it's about the people. For real. We're here on a Monday, late July, doing our best, chasing the dream. And again, we're doing it for the people, and we're blessed. More and more subscribers over the weekend. And if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're, an OG, thank you. And if you're not watching the show, but you're a Canucks fan, we're sending you love. Hey, speaking about love, teddy bears. Did you enjoy having a teddy bear around you when you were younger? And do your children have teddy bears right now? And are they like in love with them? Because that never happened in my family.
Yeah, I think I had a teddy. It wasn't like a staple in my life. I remember when I was like 8, 9, when I started to discover WWE, I'd use my stuffies to like do wrestling moves. That was my best memory of stuffies. But my daughter has like way too many stuffies, bro. Like I'm rotating through toys. She got that many toys. That's funny. You brought that up before we talk about the man named Teddy himself. I want to bring up one more thing as well before we talk about the man named Teddy.
Trevor's trivia starts now.
What's going on here? Monday morning. What are you gonna do to me here? Okay, hey, give me a question.
All right. It's L. I only got one question. Okay, but we're talking about Teddy Blueger, the pride of Latvia. 4 other Latvians have played for the Canucks. Can you name all 4 of them?
Cannons, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Urbe.
Yeah, Ronald Cannons.
Yeah, Urbe.
Arthur's Urbe, yeah.
And then we have Selovs. Sorry.
Arthur Silovs, there you go. That's 4 of 5. You got one more.
I don't know, man. This one's gonna be hard, man. I'm thinking.
I'll give you one hint. It's another goaltender.
It's another goaltender. Damn. And what era? Like what era? Recent?
Early 2000s backup.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. What? Early 2000s.
I know you. Some of you listening out there right now, you're ready to beat your head against your headphones, your screen.
Okay, tell me.
That's Peter Skudra.
Man.
The classic backup to the Canucks. Peter Skudra. So yeah, ironically enough, 3 of the 5 Latvians to play for the Canucks have been goaltenders. So Teddy Blueger will be only the second skater from Latvia to play for the Canucks. And again, this guy's supposed to be the third line center for the Canucks. I think there's some reasons to be hopeful. There's also some reasons for skepticism, kind of similar to, the guys we talked about before with Cole and Susie. But again, let's start with the good. So Teddy Blueger, again, on that 1-year, $1.9 million deal. I think that in itself is good that the Canucks didn't overpay for someone who, again, is a bottom 6 forward at the end of the day. And, I think with Blueger last season, he admitted it was a down year for him. He had 4 goals in 63 games, got traded, was a healthy scratch a lot in Vegas. But, going back to the season before, 2021-22, this guy was a beast, man. So at even strength, he had an expected goals differential of 59.3%, really solid for a guy in his position, who was, facing some tough competition, playing a lot of defensive matchups. He also had 1.73 points per 60 in 2021-22. That was, that's basically a second line rate. He was on pace for 11 goals and 35 points over a full 82 games. So all the talk about this guy can't score, blah, blah, blah. He had some, pretty good numbers, just a season ago. And last but not least, he's a fantastic penalty killer. Like his underlying numbers say that he's one of the best penalty killers in the game. And we know the Canucks need that, because if this penalty kill is like, bottom 5 again, it seems not making the playoffs. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's not happening. They got to make life easy for Thatcher Demko. So they got to be better penalty killers. And I know that's maybe patting Thatcher Demko too much on the back. Maybe he should have our back and be great on the penalty kill. No, just ease him in to getting back to being elite. Don't make his job hard, right? Goaltending is such a momentous thing. So in the beginning of the year, this team better get its penalty killing together, and Teddy Blueger is going to be a big, big part of that. And I think Teddy Blueger's ceiling is maybe like not improved, but it is aided, and it's maybe going to look more fluffier, ironically, because of who his line mates may be. Straight up.
No, it's great use of the word fluffier. I wasn't expecting you to drop that there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also excited to see, and I think Teddy Blueger, I think it's worth talking about, who is he actually going to play with? And
exactly.
You just mentioned it, and I mentioned it. We mentioned it every day, when we did our sexy projected lineup. And I had him playing with Ilya Mikheyev and Connor Garland, because those are two players with good underlying numbers defensively, but also two players who can create a bit of offense as well. Now, one intriguing name who was still out there on the free agent market last I checked was Zach Aston Reese. Now, Zach Aston Reese and Teddy Blueger were, line mates when they played together in Pittsburgh, and the two of them were like a dynamite shutdown duo. Now, that being said, that's like, a duo forwards that doesn't really create a lot of offense. Now, would you be interested in seeing the Canucks bring in Zach Aston Reese?
Nah, man. They don't need to do that. And I think they're stuck with Teddy Blueger being the third line center this season. I saw a tweet earlier today still talking about guys like Comtois and Pius Suter and company, but I just feel as if this team is too much over the cap, and they got to do a lot of maneuvering, and their road to cap compliance, it's going to get done. It's going to get done. They're going to wiggle their way out of this, but I don't think bringing in another contract is in their plans, because it's already complicated enough. And I do think there is that realization that, again, they can get the most out of Teddy Blueger if they put him around guys like Connor Garland or Beauvillier or Mikheyev or Podkolzin, and there is that recipe for a different level of success for that third line center spot. It's maybe a lot to ask for, and I'm being very, very hopeful that, again, guys like Connor Garland and Mikheyev and company can bring Teddy Blueger to another level. I just think that his professionalism and his skill set and like the intangibles he has is worth being patient with and experimenting again with that combination. Like, there's a recipe there for success for this version of the Vancouver Canucks. Again, it's not 2025, 2026. It's not the time to win the Stanley Cup. It's time to take the next step. And I think they've done all they've had to do to, again, suit up this lineup to look different and be better on the penalty kill and ultimately have a better third line option than Niels Amon.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there's reason to believe that Teddy Blueger can be a legitimate third line center, and I'm also going to talk about some of those options or why he can do that after the break. But first, we got to shout out a sponsor, okay? We still got sponsors in July, baby. All right. Before we get to the other side, I got to tell you, newborn life has me short on sleep, okay? It's harder to work out and eat healthy like I used to. That's why I have a hard time living life without my AG1 in the morning. Since I've been drinking AG1, I've noticed an overall feeling of sustained energy, support for my mental clarity, and focus. And hey, I need that focus to bring you the goods here on Locked On Canucks. AG1, it replaces your multivitamin probiotic and puts it all in one simple drinkable habit. AG1 also uses a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients. Science, baby. And Kyle, you and I, we're both over the 30 mark, okay? Both getting crustier, grumpier. We could both use a product like AG1 to keep us feeling like we're only 29, okay? So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out.
By the way, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you again that every episode of Locked On Canucks will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Again, every episode of Locked On Canucks at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Let's get back to the show. Okay. You back on Locked On Canucks. Your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan, a lot of Teddy Blueger optimism off the jump. My mind is all over the place, okay? It's Monday, you're dealing with life, and now we're talking about this third line center, and I know I said a lot of positive things about what could happen with him there. That being said, I still think Teddy Blueger is the optimal guy to be your fourth line center when it's really going to matter for this team, and that's like maybe in 2 years or 3 years. I think what I'm trying to say is him and Neil Zaman are definitely having some sort of competition to, again, be bigger parts of the next wave for this Vancouver Canucks. Because the improvement is there to be made next offseason in that 3C spot, but that doesn't mean Teddy Blueger is going to be a one and done. Like, let's say he's not gonna start the year next season as a third line center. That doesn't mean, again, he can't be on this team. A fourth line center spot for Teddy Blueger, that's not bad, and it's still there for, again, the next version of the Vancouver Canucks when things really matter. Again, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. I'm curious to see what else you got to say about Teddy, man. Hey, did you know that I saw this interview? Okay, everyone's watching this Barbie movie, right? Are you watching it? Is it like a kids movie? Are you allowed to like bring your family to it? Is it one of those movies?
I have no idea, but all I know is Margaret Robbie. I'd go watch this for her.
Hey, come on, dude. It's a kid's show, okay? And you're a family man. Come on. Don't be talking about my friend. You know, your wife's my friend, okay? So you better watch your mouth. Anyways, Margot, okay, she was talking about how she actually still has a teddy bear that she's had from childhood that she sleeps with. So there you go. Anyways, more on Teddy Blueger. Continue.
I wonder if Teddy Blueger sleeps with a teddy. Someone should ask him that, I just want to say one of the things about Teddy Blueger, a lot of people aren't convinced that he can be a third line center. Think that he's probably best suited for a fourth line role. Well, that might be the case. I found it interesting that, this guy, he's averaged almost 50 minutes a night throughout his NHL career. Like, those are not fourth line minutes. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's been trusted in some big situations. And, for his first 3 years in Pittsburgh, his first 3 full NHL seasons, he averaged 50 minutes and 17 seconds per game. Like, those are like low end second line minutes. So are we really having this debate about, like, can he be a third line center? He's already been a third line center. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I think it's again, the standard. People want change in Vancouver, and Teddy Blueger's not like he's not a sexy pick. He's not the guy that's going to push the needle in that role, just from the outside. And think about this too. I mean, he didn't have the best season last year. He was not used. That matters, okay? Recency bias, it's there. But, I've said this all the time, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Canucks fans are down to say this too. Prove us wrong. And I think what you're saying is he does have a chance, especially, again, with the fact that he's going to be playing with some good players around him, to prove us wrong. I think you're a big Teddy Blueger fan, man.
I'm a big fan of Latvia, again, they've been supporting the program. I think it's like in terms of countries around the world, like, the fourth most of our viewers come from Latvia. So yeah, shout out Latvia, man. And, again, I just think, Teddy Blueger and wear number 53 is going to be even better than the 53 who was just here. Okay. He's going to bring that energy. And I'll tell you that for free right now, man. I am a big Teddy Blueger fan. I think the Canucks probably should have aimed higher, right? If they're a Stanley Cup contender in terms of their third line center. But I think for now, the cheap 1-year deal, and Alvin clearly believes in Blueger, right? He's part of the scouting staff that helped bring him to the NHL. And, another thing I really like about Blueger too, is that the guy put in the work. Okay. He's talked in interviews about how, he as many junior players are, they're used to scoring goals and being in big situations. It was like that when he played at Shattuck St. Mary's for high school hockey. It was like that when he played in the NCAA. And he talked about when he came to the AHL, it was a big adjustment for him because he came to the AHL and all of a sudden he's not the guy anymore. He's just another guy on the team. And that's where he learned to be a defensive forward. It wasn't really, according to him, from university or from high school. It was in the AHL. And he spent like 3 full seasons in the AHL and forced his way out of the Pittsburgh Penguins roster. Now that's the kind of work ethic you can respect. And who's to say that he can't just keep stepping up his game here at the NHL level for your Vancouver Canucks?
And I think there's a good chance he will, because again, the opportunity, and also because of what Alvin was saying about him. Like, and now you're saying similar things, but to paraphrase off of what Alvin was saying, it's about his professionalism, the work that he puts in the gym, and that type of player is important when looking to shift the culture of an organization that's been losing and losing and losing. You could argue that there's been a lot of losers in that dressing room, and maybe that's why, and not just being a loser because of the results in the game. I'm talking about not taking this privilege, this opportunity as serious as you should. And in order to get to the next step, you can't be just doing the same things. You got to be doing the most. And by the sounds of it, Teddy Blueger is one of the guys that does the most. And more guys that do that, the better. That's how you kind of change culture. And change is really needed in this city. Okay. And I was talking about this on my blog. I actually wrote in my blog yesterday. I wrote a segment called Flip the Script, okay? And I put a lot of pressure on Filip Hronek. And Filip Hronek, okay? Let's be real. Let's be honest. We talked about him, okay? We talked about him on Friday, and it was a good time. It was a good time. Move those shoulders. Move those shoulders. The Filip Hronek Report. Go check that out, again, wherever you listen to podcasts on Locked On Canucks. And I wrote about him, and I think I was so high on him during my write, / putting a lot of pressure on him and saying unrealistic things because I want the unrealistic things to happen. So again, Teddy Blueger, I want him to prove me wrong. Maybe he's a lot better than I think he is, and he's going to be an ideal third-line center spot, a third-line center for your Vancouver Canucks. I need that to happen because I want the Canucks to win, and I want the city to feel hopeful again. Dude, hope matters, sorry. It really does matter. And I miss it, man. I miss it. I feel as if the Canucks start winning more and bringing joy back to the city and making hockey games matter, there's a chance that my career will go further in the world of podcasting. It's just the truth.
I think, confidence, we talked about this last week, right? Confidence is so much no matter what you do in life. And, when my hockey team's winning, I'm feeling more confident in my day-to-day, because, I'm up from 7 to 10 p.m. and I'm watching my team do great things. I go to bed in a good mood. I wake up in a good mood. I feel more confident, okay? That's just the way it goes.
The truth. You're telling the truth. Thanks. You just took the words out of my mouth. I can't articulate myself when I'm talking about these feelings because there's such strong feelings for me, and I haven't been in touch with them for a long time. But you said it best. It gives you that extra 1%, and life is tough. Life is tough, man. And that extra 1% goes a long way. Hope is dope. Remember that. Hope is dope. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, you're also dope too, man. This guy made the best burgers over the weekend. The best burgers, man. Boom, bam. This got a button shirt all the way. No buttons clipped. A hairy chest just pouring out and making burgers for the people. Making burgers for the people, man. It was something else, man. I liked it, man. You're a good dude, and happy birthday again. You deserve the best, and you're getting the best here on Locked On Canucks. Your team every day. We got Comment Corner on the other side. Beggsy, I know it's late July, but is there a chance we have a second ad here on YouTube?
Not today. There's zero chance. So we're going to pause here and we'll catch you on the other side in Comment Corner.
People, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you that I just updated the blog Extra, featuring Kyle Bhawan and friends. I drew from a couple of your comments and got to writing. So check that out in the link in the bio. But without further ado, let's get back to why you're here, okay? And that's Locked On Canucks.
Okay. We back. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. Trevor Beggs with the Wi-Fi booster. Still not like 100%, but you're not a tech wizard, man. You know what I'm saying? You should get your son on this. The younger generation, they know how to use technology. We're getting up there in age. We just don't even know how to click things, press things. it happens, man. It just comes with age. You can't walk anymore and you can't use technology. So maybe get your son on it and maybe he'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't want to send our loyal locked on family after my place of employment, but I have a Wi-Fi booster and then I have an Ethernet cable plugged into the Wi-Fi booster, plugged into my computer. So I'm literally on Ethernet, but it's still not enough, man. It's unbelievable.
Dude, you probably don't even have it turned on, man. Let's be honest. You're 30 years old. You lose your marbles, man. 30's okay. So
You had me questioning it.
before we read the comment, like again, now you've been 30 for a week. You're a hippie. You know, I got to ask you the question again. Like, how do you feel, man? Is there any like piece of advice / like enlightenment that you can throw our listeners' way, aka throw something my way?
Sleep is important, man. That's all I got to say. I mean, I'm short on sleep. You heard me say it in the ad read. That's why I got my AG1. But you can try to sleep at least 7 hours a night. You're doing yourself a world of wonder. I did hear from a sleep doctor that basically every hour of sleep you get less than 8 hours is basically like having a drink. Like you're just that much more impaired mentally going into the next day. So think about that, man. If you have 5 hours of sleep, it's kind of like you're walking around like you had 3 drinks.
What the? They be just putting out these stats like they know everything. Come on, man. Relax, man. I think that's a load
I
of
just
BS,
say,
man.
I
Don't be
just heard it,
giving the
man. I
people
just heard it.
don't be giving
It
my
came from
people,
a
the Locked On
doctor.
Canucks people, dude. F that doctor, okay? Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. Let's get to Comment Corner.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing.
Today's comment comes from Steven and Daisy.
Think about this. What if the Canucks decide to stack Hronek up with Quinn Hughes, giving them the greatest pairing in the history of the organization, let alone the league? It could have a similar effect like it did with the Ducks and Niedermeyer and Pronger.
Okay, Trevor, that's a comment and a half, okay? And it's a bit of a dream. But for a team that needs such a shift defensively, and for a team that brought in Carson Soucy and Ian Cole, again, only Carson Soucy and Ian Cole, we're talking about different guys, but just guys at the end of the day. What are the chances that the shift is made defensively and the team starts playing better defensively solely because they have a pair that is unbeatable in Filip Hronek and Quinn Hughes? Like, do you think there's a chance of that actually happening for the Vancouver Canucks at any point?
I think there's a chance it happens, but it'll be like a late third period. You need some offense. You need to put your best players on the ice. I do not see it at all being a possibility in terms of a 60-minute strategy. Because, like, just look at Quinn Hughes, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I remember running them late last season. There was a point in about mid-March where when Quinn Hughes was on the ice, the Canucks had a plus 24 goal differential at even strength. Without him on the ice, it was a minus 41 goal differential at even strength. The Canucks are basically like a bottom 3 team in the NHL when Quinn Hughes isn't on the ice. That's how valuable this guy is to the team. So you don't need to boost Quinn Hughes by having Filip Hronek up there. Like I get the idea because in nature it sounds kind of sexy. You get the two of the best defenders in hockey on the same blue line, but then the rest of your blue line is going to suffer. I mean, I think Ian Cole and Carson Soucy are still third pair defenders on a good team. Yet they're going to be top 4 guys for your Vancouver Canucks. So no, I do not think it's a good idea to put Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek together, except for maybe late game situations when you absolutely need a goal.
I think things like this can happen if you have, and this is such an obvious answer, but these things can happen when you have better depth. And Carson Soucy and Ian Cole additions, and it's going to make a difference. It really is. But they're just guys. They're just guys. We're not talking about like Bowen Byram, or we're not talking about who was that? Who was the other guy? Girardi. You know, what was his name? Samuel Girard. Sam Girard. We're not talking about those type of things. You know, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not. We don't have. It's like after those two, Hronek and Quinn Hughes, it's like, you know, low end top 4 defensemen / pretty good number 5, number 6 guys. That's just the truth, and that's not the card you want to play. I know we're running out of time, but I got to get to 2 more things. But before I get to the important part, that's about Filip Hronek, I got to ask you this: who else was on that Anaheim Ducks roster with Chris Pronger and Scott Niedermeyer being the top pairing? Like, who are the other defensemen? Because I can't remember at all, and I'm not comparing like Filip Hronek to like a Chris Pronger type. You know, I'm not doing that. But I wonder like what type of like the trickle down effect / again, having such a powerful combo in the playoffs, playing like 35 minutes a game. Like, I wonder like what the conversion is on wins, because in the playoffs, having two guys play that long, you gotta say like that's an advantage. Real talk.
Yeah. I honestly had to look it up. Like I was thinking
Yeah.
like Aussie Vannanen and stuff, but
No
man,
way.
Aaron Rome played a game for the Ducks in those playoffs. That's unbelievable. Okay, so no, their main guys in the top four. It was Chris Pronger, Scott Niedermayer, Francois Beauchemin.
Okay.
He it was basically top three. Like those guys played. Oh
Yeah.
my god, those guys averaged almost 30 minutes a night, all three of them. Scott Niedermayer actually was a bit below at 29 minutes to 51 seconds. So it's
Mhm.
really a top three, bottom three. So Beauchemin, Pronger, Niedermayer. Then Sean O'Donnell averaged 20 minutes a game. Then after that, it was
Sean
Kent
O'Donnell.
Huskins,
Think about
played
that.
11 minutes and 45 minutes a game. And then a bunch of other guys kind of swapped in and out after that. So
That's crazy to
um,
think about.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never
What a
know.
blue line.
Maybe in the playoffs, like if the Canucks if they take the next step and they not only compete for an actual playoff spot in games 80, games 81, games 82, but they actually make the playoffs. And yeah, maybe they get there with splitting Hronek and Hughes, but maybe they go down 1-0 in a series, and in the second period of game 2, they're like, you know what? Let's just put these two together and start playing them a lot. Maybe that's when it does happen to stream. Hey, speaking of Philip Hronek, I did say on the last episode, again, check it out wherever you stream podcast, that there could be like a personality issue with Philip Hronek, right? Like, why did Yzerman trade him? Blah, blah, blah. And again, I saw some tweets and comments maybe alluding to it. And I think I heard something about Hronek, again, I think I kind of heard it wrong, but his like shyness / being somebody who doesn't really like talk to the media, maybe I took that as like, oh, like, just like a little rugged guy. Maybe it could be personality problems. I just want to say I said way too much. Let's not put that out there, man. So I gotta go back, and even though I was paraphrasing and just talking and going with the flow of things, I gotta apologize for that because I watched a ton. For real. For real. He just smiling. He's got a soft voice. I went too far with that comment, and I just want to keep it neutral. I take that comment back, and I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to apologize. I think you mentioned on the episode that you kind of maybe heard it out there. Don't take it too seriously, but I think you had the disclaimer. It's all good. Look, I think one of the impressive things about Philip Hronek when I was doing some research on him is he went like 2 years in Detroit without doing a media appearance, and he was not like he was a depth player on the team. He was playing 22 minutes a night. So
Okay.
it wasn't even until like this season, Max Boltman from the Athletic did like a big piece on him because he scored 6 goals in 6 straight games. That he was doing like a media appearances again. He's just
Yeah.
like, how did this guy go almost 2 years without talking to the media? I know it's COVID and stuff, but still pretty impressive.
Okay. See, like I think that's where I might have again drawn the line and connected those dots. But who knows? Like I think saying somebody that has personality problems or may have them, even though I did give the disclaimer, it's just like this is Locked On Canucks, okay? This is not like gossip hour. I think that's why I had to just take it back because you got to be sure of those things. And again, all it took was 30 minutes of me scoping the Philip Hronek scene and, hearing him talk. And I was like, dude, come on, man. This guy's a nice dude. We don't know the reason why he doesn't want to talk to the media or didn't do so for 2 years, but just seems like a normal dude. And the way we're talking about him right now, dude, man, best number 2 defenseman in the league, okay? Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Thanks so much for listening. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment / a review on Apple Podcasts. And now you can also leave comments on Spotify episodes too. So do so, man. Let us know how we're doing. And we're just warming up. We're just warming up for next October. And hopefully we're talking about ice hockey, okay? And hopefully hope is dope. Once again, Beggsy, sign us out.
All right. Shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners. And if this is your first time listening, hey, you're listening to a hockey podcast in late July, you must be a nut. But that's all right. You're always welcome here on Locked On Canucks, okay? So coming up, I do want to take a look. Again, a couple episodes ago, we projected the sexiest possible to opening night roster. Let's take a look at what we think the roster will actually look like on opening night. peek into Rick Tocchet's head a little bit. I also want to look at Patrick Allvin, how he drafted when he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is this guy actually good at drafting? We're going to tell you on a later episode, but for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan, and thanks for listening to Locked On Canucks.